back to the RedBeard Outdoors podcast. This is Jonathan, your host, and thank you so much for tuning in today. I have an awesome guest in store for you and can't wait for you to hear his story and some of the amazing things that he's doing. And his name is Armando, and he has the company, the Bow Hitch. If you've heard of them. If you haven't, go look him up on Instagram. I'll leave the links below to his website and his Instagram. But basically, he's just an awesome overall dude. Before we get into that conversation, I did just want to bring up again, thank you. I truly appreciate everyone who is contributing to sharing the podcast, spreading it to others. You have so many options that you can listen to, and you're choosing to listen to me. Thank you so very much. In return, I am doing everything that I can to make sure that I get guests on that are relatable to you, that have amazing stories, that are doing awesome things, whether it be in the archery community, hunting, fitness, family, outdoors. Because here at RedBeard Outdoors, that is what we focus on. The three main things: faith, family, fitness, and the outdoors. Those are the three main topics that you'll hear as a constant theme throughout all of my podcasts. So if you need any gear or anything along those lines, I want you to check out the links below to the companies that I work with. I don't run ads. I just work with some awesome companies that you should definitely check them out. If you need beard oil, granola, backpacking food, clothing, anything along those lines, go check them out down below. Also, leave me a review, and not just the 5 stars that you're going to leave me, but also type in a comment and send me a screenshot to the email I'm leaving below. It's redbeardoutdoors, the number 1, @gmail.com. And I'll send you something in the mail, just out of my appreciation. So, without further ado, here is Armando with the Bow Hitch. All right, so we got here the Bow Hitch master. And anyway, he's a good friend of mine. We're making acquaintances here, but he seems to be an awesome dude. And everything that he does with his work as far as the Bow Hitch, and now he's doing these giveaways that we'll go into a little bit further. But just an amazing guy, loves to give back to the community, has a family, loves archery, loves bow hunting. And yeah, without further ado, tell us a little bit about who you are.
All right. Well, my name is Armando Martinez. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, born and raised. Been with, been here, have a beautiful wife and 2 kids, 11 who's going to be 12 at the end of the month, and 8 who's going to be 9 in April. So they've been my little helpers on the giveaway, and they've been doing good. They're my Layla, she is 11, and my Moises is 8. So I got a boy and a girl, and life is good, man. Life is good. Super blessed. And my background, I guess, as far as hunting is concerned, is in New Mexico. I went to Wyoming, hunted in Wyoming a couple of times. This last year, I was able to go to Maui, and then hunted some axis deer in Maui. I went to the Big Island and killed a real nice sheep over there, and got to do both of them with my bow. As far as professionally, I've been an arson investigator for the past 12 years. I work for Albuquerque Fire Department, and just been grinding away at that. And so fortunately, this July, I should be retiring, man, and hanging it up, and seeing what this Bow Hitch deal is, has to offer, and just give it 100%, and see if we can't take it to the next level and compete with the big dogs.
That's awesome. That's so cool. So, and I love something that and I hear you say it all the time on your videos, any posts you have with your family involved. You always say my Layla and my Moises. I love that you say that, right? And it's such a simple terminology or phrase of putting it, but just the love that I hear in your voice when you talk about your family. I love that, man. So you have 2 kids, you have a full-time job, you have the Bow Hitch that we'll talk about here in a little bit. And you're married, happily married, obviously. And that's not always easy. Some people, we kind of laugh at that, but it's not easy to balance everything that you have going on and to keep the happy wife as well. And then arson see, I didn't know that about you. So tell me a little bit more about that. As much, I don't know how much you can talk about, but what all does that entail?
Well, in Albuquerque, we're very unique because we have a special our office designed in a really cool way. So I worked for the fire department. I came in '02 and started working for Albuquerque Fire Department. Well, as a cadet, we had the arson investigators come in, and they came in their suits and their ties, and they were super slick, and they kind of gave us a rundown on arson. It was maybe an hour and a half class, and this is what we do. And as you promote, and if you're doing well, this is something that maybe you can do. And ever since that day, I was like, I gotta do that. I got it. That's what I gotta do. I didn't even know it was a thing. And I got in and I started promoting right away. And as soon as I did, I started applying for the fire. It's a fire investigator. So I started applying, and it took a few years to get in, and I just kept grinding it out. And finally, eventually, you get in. And what's unique to our department, and what makes it so special, is that when you get accepted in our department, even though you work for the fire department, they send you to the police academy. So 13 years ago, I got sent to the police academy. When I got selected for arson, I went to Albuquerque Police Department's police academy, and you do an entire academy just like any other cadet off the street would. So we get maced, we get pepper sprayed, we got to do the DUI, we got to do, the driving, the shooting, every single thing that they do, we do. So when we come out, we have a law enforcement commission. The good thing about that, and the reason that our division is and our department is so high speed, is that when we go to a fire and investigate a fire, we have a background and a history as to fire patterns and fire activity and, fire behavior. When we walk in, we see see things a certain way. As we narrowed down the fire as to rule in or out what happened, and we determined that the fire was incendiary or intentionally set, then we put on our police hat and we say, okay, cool. If this was an arson fire and somebody set this fire on purpose, then how did they do it? What did they use? And then why did they do it? And then who did it? So you put on your cop hat once you figure out what happened. And from there, it's, writing warrants, doing, search warrants, finding some, cell phone stuff, bringing people in for interviews, do the interview and interrogation, you're tagging your own evidence. And then when it's time, you write up your own report and you send it to the DA's office. And there's no loss of, substance in between two people. I'm not telling you what happened. I'm writing down what happened as I see it first person from the law enforcement as well as the fire side. So we're able to explain and articulate very well because we have both sides. And I'm not asking a third party to really write something that's pretty scientific and pretty exact, in their words, when I'm not explaining it right. So it's pretty neat. That's us in a nutshell. So I've been there for, like I said, about 12 to going 13, about 12 years in the office, because the police academy here is 6 months. So that took 6 months. And then we have to do some training after, some additional training out in Emmitsburg, Maryland. We go to the National Fire Academy and get some training from the ATF out there. And then some other training here in town, just little stuff, always learning, always improving, always training. And so I've been doing that, for a little while. I came in as a driver to the office, promoted to the rank of lieutenant. And now that I'm retiring, I've been fortunate enough to run the office as a captain for the last 4 years. So I'll be retiring out of that position.
That's awesome. That's a pretty fulfilling career. So that's cool that you have that crossover between, so you're like a detective, but a fireman at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
so
what
cool.
I tell people. I'm a detective for the fire department. It's the easiest way because they're like, you can't be a fireman and a cop. And I'm like, never mind. Yeah, whatever. you're right.
Yeah, you're okay. You're right. Yeah, that's
right.
Awesome.
You're right. I can't. Cool. I lied. Yeah,
that's pretty sweet, man. And then and again, you've got that full-time family, right? Yeah. And tell me a little bit more about that. How old are your kids, and what are they involved in? Are they involved in sports? Sure. Are they looking at, what do they do as well?
Right on. So my Layla, she's into volleyball right now, and she did a little bit of gymnastics before. She enjoyed that, and we went to a couple of different gyms, and finally we got one to where we kind of liked it. And they started running through kind of too many kids, and they had some young coaches, and some kid jumped on the trampoline while she was on it. It's supposed to be one at a time, and she broke her leg. She had a hairline fracture, so that kind of got me upset, and so we pulled her from there. And since then, she's been doing just volleyball. They did some swimming. We had some private lessons. Both of them did swimming, and then so my Moises now, he did a little bit of he did swimming the whole time. He did some gymnastics. He's not too into anything. He's not sold out on any one particular thing. So he's pretty much, if my sister does it, I want to do it. Which I think all of us. I have an older sister, I remember. And so we're hoping that there's a volleyball league that's co-ed that he's going to be able to try out. And we're really trying to talk him into some spring soccer at school, because it's right there at school. But that might be too easy. He's not that easy on us. So that might be asking a lot.
You have to tell him you don't want him to do it. And that's when
they'll go. I haven't tried that yet.
That's so cool. Well, awesome, man. Well, that's cool. I mean, you've got a pretty intensive job, and again, you've got the family. So let's talk a little bit more about what, as far as your outdoor journey. Sure. Obviously, you're big and you're a bow hunter. Right before we started recording, we talked a little bit about how you don't feel like you're an expert on bows and archery, but people to go and talk to. But even before that, like, where did your outdoor journey start? As a young kid, as an adult, where did that begin for you?
Sure. So my hunting journey began as a kid. I was Moises's age. My dad would take me out, and it's just a different time in a different place. Back then it was driving around, and I'd get to sit in the middle without a seatbelt, and I was in charge of handing beers from the cooler in the back to the guys in the front. And I was the guy to go get the gate. And if we saw something, I was the eyes that'd be like, "Come on, Mondo, focus. You need to find some. They're all over. You need to focus." While they're just cruising around. So a lot of my youth was spent traveling down the road, being an expert beer handler. So that's the way it started. But my dad would take us out. We'd go shoot rabbits and just whatever. The units that my dad liked to hunt growing up was actually muzzleloader. So I grew up hunting with the primitive 54 caliber Hawkins, ball and patch, round ball. And that's what I grew up hunting with. And in high school, I have an uncle named Mike. And my Uncle Mike, he taught me how to fly fish. And when he had an extra fly rod, and he said, "Okay, well, this is how you cast." And he put me in the backyard. He goes, "You can sleep at the house, and if you figure this out, I'll take you fishing tomorrow." So he put a bucket in the backyard, and he said, "If you can land that fly on that bucket 5 times in a row, I'll take you fishing." So, and then he left me outside. So I just figured out. He That's gave awesome. Me some rough direction, and figured it out after that on what I needed to do. And I don't know. I'm sure he didn't put it too far. It was probably just I could flip it over. I don't remember exactly, but I know it was a 5-gallon bucket lid. And I called him out, and I said, "Hey, Uncle, I think I'm ready," And so he's the one who taught me how to fly fish and tie flies. And now he eventually he took me bow hunting. My dad gave me his old bow that obviously didn't fit me. I had no business shooting. I was probably 110 pounds soaking wet, and they just turned it down. And my uncle said, "Oh yeah, it's perfect," and took me to the mountains bow hunting. And that's how I got started, and then hunted for a few years with him with that shitty bow. And then eventually when I got I'd stopped bow hunting and just did muzzleloader hunting. And eventually when I got into the fire department, I was a rookie. I was brand new, and a friend of a friend had a bow that they needed to move. They were moving out of the Air Force Base. So he sold it to me real cheap. And I had that bow until last year. I had that bow for 18 years, and it was a Bowtech tribute, and I shot, a few animals with it, and it shot great. And, but like I said, I shot that bow for that long, and I never had any issues. So I killed an elk my first year with it. And then I shot one again, probably like 10 years ago. And a few years ago, I shot a pretty nice buck I have on the wall. I shot an antelope with that old bow. I think that was all that I ended up killing with that bow. So, but when we got into the bow hitch, I was like, man, my partner, he's the same way I am. He goes, if it works, I'm not gonna buy another one. So he had an old bow that was like mine, but just both of them are just old. So I'm like, man, we can't go to these shows with these busted ass bows and we're gonna have no street credit whatsoever. So yeah, he got the green light to buy a bow and I got the green light to buy a bow. So I got lucky and a friend of mine sold me his bow from the previous year. So that's been my journey. But as far as that's the bow hunting side of things, I've been guiding professionally for a while. I think this would be I think all in all probably I don't know, 8-9 years, I guess. So a friend of mine had was working with a business, and the gentleman that he was working with passed away and handed him the business. He gave it to him in the will. So Eddie, it's a Hunters New Mexico Outfitters, and it started in Mexico as Hunters Mexico Outfitters. So did a lot of hunting out in Mexico, did bird hunting, did mule deer, coos deer, turkey, just hunted a lot. So he expanded into New Mexico and he said, hey man, I think I'm going to get my New Mexico license. Do you want to help me? So I started cooking for him. My mom owns a restaurant. I grew up in the restaurant business. So he said, I want you to cook. You'll be the cook, but in the morning you go hunt with us, and I'll teach you the ropes as far as the guiding portion is concerned, and then you could go check cameras or go scout another area during the middle of the day, and then when we get home, just have a hot meal for the client. And so that's what we would do. We'd go hunt in the morning. Sometimes we'd kill in the morning, and sometimes we wouldn't, and they'd go and hunt the evenings, and when they got back, I'd have a nice dinner ready, and we'd be ready to rock, and I'd wake up and make burritos or lunch or whatever it was, and then we'd go hunting. And that's kind of how I got started. And now he's running pretty big camps. Usually it's not more than 4 or 5 people at a time, but he's got hunters for every single hunt. So he's got 15, typically about 15 archery elk hunters, 10 to 15 archery elk hunters. And then we hit the muzzleloader season, and then we hit rifle season, and then deer hunting, antelope hunting, oryx hunting, whatever comes up, whatever tags they draw. So I've been fortunate to really be able to hunt quite a bit, and hone my skills with some really, really, really good hunters that I've learned a lot from along the way. So just been fortunate to learn from people, that have done it more than I have and really take to it. And we put some great animals in the dirt nowadays.
That's awesome. That's cool that you've got a buddy that has a guiding service and that company is growing as well. Does he still do hunts out of Mexico as well?
He stopped in Mexico. Okay. He slowed down a few years back. We were doing pheasant, dove, but he ended up getting married and having a kid. And so he felt the strain that, the rest of us who do have families, he didn't have a family before. So it was just him hunting, and that was his life. So once he got married and had a kid, it slowed down quite a bit. And and then the borders and all the stuff going on down there slowed things down. So he was working a lot harder for the dollar that he was getting before, and just didn't make sense to stay open. So he still has all the contacts and stuff. So for whatever reason we want to get back down south, it won't be a problem. It's just right now the safe bets at home with the baby.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I've always wanted to go hunting in Mexico. So I lived in Mexico City and the surrounding area for 2 years as a missionary, as an LDS missionary. Cool. And I embraced the culture. I loved it so much. I love the food and everything about it. And I'd love to go down and do a coos deer hunt one day down in Mexico, and have some coos deer tamales and stuff like that. It just sounds amazing. But yeah,
Absolutely.
so you've got a pretty diverse background as far as the outdoors is concerned, and I think it's funny because my really good buddy also grew up kind of truck hunting, road hunting, and he's definitely not like that now. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be as into hunting as I am because that's not my thing. But it's cool to see that progression, and you went from fly fishing into bow hunting, which both of those take a lot of skill and they take a lot of effort to learn. And I think it's cool that he tested you, put you out in the backyard and said, go do this. And,
Yep.
and then I'll take you fishing, that's pretty cool. Um, but it's cool to see your progression through all of that, and then being a guide. I didn't realize that you did guiding for a while as well. What's your favorite animal to either hunt or guide for?
I would say guiding, probably elk. Just because a lot of the people, some of them have killed before, but a lot of them hadn't, right? So they've given it a shot and they've done Colorado and this other thing. And they, for whatever reason, wanted to come New Mexico and they're coming to chase something. So my favorite part was talking to the people before and saying, hey, now that you're here, I want to know what your perfect elk hunt is. You tell me what you envision when you book this hunt. I didn't say, I'm not the one that sold it to you, so I want to hear from you. You tell me, Jonathan, you bought this hunt. Tell me what your perfect hunt is. Like, are you an East Coast guy and you want to sit water? Are you want to chase bugles? You want to work your butt off? Like, you have a bad hip, you can't carry anything, you can't walk, like all these things. So I go through a pretty good, conversation of just a Q&A to get a feel for what I think I can do to make this the best hunt for you. So when that comes together and I have this elk hunter who's willing to learn and listen, which most of them are, I would say 90% of the hunters that I've been with are welcoming to critique and to some suggestions. I'm like, that's what you're paying me to tell you this, right? Like, so it would behoove you to listen and to take this advice because I've been here before, you know. It doesn't always happen, and it costs people animals, but it's their hunt. So I like to start out with that. And if I could get somebody an elk in their exact what scenario, there's nothing better than that, because you just see like all the time and effort and the joy when a plan comes together. Like at the end of 75 hard, when you're done with that, it's going to be, you're going to feel phenomenal. And that's what I get to see. And, these hunts mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Some of them bring up, past hunters, past partners that they hunted with and they wish they were there. And this is for somebody. And I've been wanting to do this my whole life and I'm 70. And, like it's a different, when there's an animal on the ground, a lot of different emotions come out, and kind of the shield gets let down for a minute, and people just say what's on their mind, in a way that they typically wouldn't, I believe. So for that, I would say elk hunting, there's nothing like that for guiding. Personally, like I really like calling coyotes. So I mean, taking people out to hunt anything is incredible. But I like being able to set up and call and kind of figure out where the coyote's coming in from and making a good shot, and then going, another 10 miles and doing it again. So for me, I like that. It's not being in one canyon all day hiking and, cow calling and listening. And like, as much as I do like that, I like the coyote hunting aspect, because they're coming in and trying to outsmart you, So I get a kick out of that.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that doesn't get brought up a lot, but yeah, I do like predator control. And I know that's a controversial topic for a lot of people, but there's give and take in both sides. Being, we're obviously predators as well.
Right.
And then, you've got the prey animals, but I think that's cool that you bring that up. They definitely they're pretty smart animals. The coyotes they're not dumb by any means. They use all of their senses, and they're very acute as far as smell and sight. Any kind of movement, any kind of whiff of anything they don't like, and they're gone.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's awesome. That's cool to hear. And then, guiding for elk, I can imagine, uh, I've never been a guide, but I've been on plenty of hunts that I didn't have a tag in my pocket. And so, I can imagine it's similar seeing someone else's success and how everything comes together and helping them spot animals and helping them, get on animals and that sort of deal. It's awesome to see other people's success in that, that's so cool. I can't imagine being a guide myself, and I'm sure you having a family plays a part in not being able to go out and guide because that takes a lot of time away from family and loved ones. But to all those out there that do it, I'm sure one day I'll incorporate a guiding service into one of these hunts. But yeah, it takes a lot of work, takes a lot of effort and a lot of sacrifice. So you brought up 75 hard. Have you done 75 hard?
I'm not man enough yet. I'm not mentally I'm not mentally prepared. I absolutely want to do it, but I just haven't pulled the trigger, because I know when I say I'm going to do it, I'll do it. But with the boat, like, it's basically excuses what I'm giving you. But I haven't done it yet. And with all the changes coming up this year, I won't start. If I do, I might start in the middle of the summer when I'm already in the full swing of all the 3D shoots and stuff. And I kind of know what retirement feels like and what, the new job feels like. And but right now I'm just going to make the excuse that that I can't do it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's just like having kids. When people talk to me and they're like, yeah, I'm not quite ready, I'm like, look, I will never tell someone to go have kids. If you're not sure, don't do it. Like,
right?
It's one of those things. I'd rather you not have kids if you're not sure about it, But yeah, with 75 hard, it's so I did the Live Hard program last year, and then the year before that I did 75 hard. And one thing that I would just say, obviously it's a personal choice, but I have not been as efficient and effective before. I was never this efficient and effective before. I feel so accomplished in things that I get done. I'm very dialed in. And so, especially with you looking at retirement and going into being full-time on the Bow Hitch, which we'll get into here in a minute, because I think it's an awesome product. It's something that I would recommend definitely taking a look at. It's simple, not easy, but it will get you so dialed in and focused on, your main focuses, which for you obviously is family and your retirement, which is going to lead into your next step in life, your next challenge of growing the Bow Hitch company and all the things that you're doing along with that. And so, I'm a huge proponent of it, just from what I've seen from me personally, and the people that I know that have gone through the program correctly, how it has changed their lives. And it seems like it's adding more to your plate, but 100%, like, you get through it and you're like, wow, like you look back on those 75 days, you're like, I'm more efficient now than I ever have been. And so just take a look at it, and we could chat about it later. But you brought it up, so I didn't know if you'd gone through the process or not. Cool. So tell me a little bit more. Let's dive into the Bow Hitch, because we've kind of gone over your background. You're huge into the outdoors. I'd love to visit New Mexico one day. I've got some friends down there, and I've just heard amazing things about the elk opportunities, which is my favorite big game animal at this point. And anyway, tell me a little bit more about the Bow Hitch.
Sure. Well, you got another friend down here, so if you do come down, I'll be happy to help out however I can.
Awesome.
Well, the Bow Hitch started out with my partner and I. My partner had it. We went on an elk hunt on a. Hold on, my son's writing me a note so he doesn't interrupt. Let me read this.
You're good. This is the dad life in real life, guys.
Okay, so the note says, "Can I play and call my friends? Yes or no? Circle." So,
that's awesome.
So mom comes home.
Awesome.
I do have to circle it. Yes.
He needs a signature. You got to sign it.
We have 20 minutes. Okay. You can play until mom comes home. All right. Thank you.
That's a whole contract, man. That's why he already knows. He knows the deal. You got to sign it. You have to put that circle on it. It's binding now.
It's crazy, man. These kids are too much nowadays. Or what? So anyway, Doug and I went on a late season hunt in New Mexico. Used to have some basically over the counter December hunts for elk that they had to be a 6x6 or bigger, 6 point on one side, at a minimum in order to shoot. And it was archery equipment late December. So
That's a
super
rough
tough
hunt.
tough hunt. Well, I had never hunted with Doug before. I knew Doug. I knew he was he's like you. He's super good shape. Just gets after it. Just a grinder, man, and phenomenal work ethic. And I was kind of getting to know him, to honestly trying to fill him out a little bit, to invite him into the arson division, because I wanted him to be part of the team in there, and I thought he'd be really good. And so we went hunting, and we kind of got along pretty good, and got to see how hard he works. He was efficient, like no fluff. Like let's just grind, let's get after it. Doesn't complain. Like just love the guy as a person. Family man as well, 3 kids. And anyway, when we got onto the mountain, he put his bow on something, and I was like, got a closer look. I'm like, dude, what the hell is that? What is that? And he goes, I don't know. I just made this like 15 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever it was. And I was like, that's incredible. Like, wow. So it just blew my mind the rest of the week, right? We're hunting, and whenever he wants to not carry his bow, he attaches it. And I was like, man. So got the wheels turning and got home and start thinking about it. I'm like, Doug, have you done anything with that? Like, have you tried making them and selling them or done? He's like, no, I've had this for years, dude. I've been using this for probably at least 10 years, I think he said. And just, we kind of joke about it once in a while. Me, my uncle, and my cousin have one of them each of what they made. And he's like, and we've joked about it, but nobody's ever done anything. So I was like, well, it's pretty special, man. I think you're onto something. And the next year, ask him, Doug, you done anything with that thing? No. Next year, Doug, have you built anything with that bow carrier thing? And he said, no. And actually, he showed a guy from work. And so I saw another guy with the exact same thing that he was using. And so I'm like, Doug, I'm telling you right now, man, like, you have to do something with it. I said, if you don't do anything with it, I'm going to build something like it, because that's too good not to put out there. Like, it just makes sense. So he didn't do anything with it. And I said, Doug, like, I'm going to do something. So if you want in, this is your idea. I'm not going to build it the way you built it, but it's your concept. So if you want to do something with me, then let's do it. I said, but if I go, I go. So just be ready. Like, we're going to do 1,000% right. And so just think about it. And he said, yeah, let's do it. And ever since then, we've been 50-50 partners, and came up with some different designs, and had a few different companies try to make them for us, and learning curve, going through all of that. I have a cousin who's really good on computers, and he actually built my first Bow Hitch, the first computer model, and he printed one out on a 3D printer at his house, which blew my mind. Like, I could barely use Excel, and like, it just like blew my mind to watch our idea come to life like instantly. So that was incredible. And from there, we got him, cut with the plasma cutter, which was a little rough, and eventually changed some sizes, some dimensions, some angles, and got it to where it's just perfectly balanced on your bow. And now we get it cut out with the laser, and they're perfect. They come out perfect. So we're that was the evolution, and then kind of how we got started, and just started grinding, man. And like, literally the first ones we got that came from the plasma cutter, we had to grind them because they were rough. So we had to go in and sand every single one and clean them out. And it was a lot. It was a lot. But talked to the wife and said, we're going to give this a shot. And at the beginning, she's kind of like, well, whatever, like, it's not going to cost that much money, I don't think, and it was just a little bit here and there. But lately it's starting to grow and starting to catch. And we traveled, we went to Utah twice last year. We did a mountain archery fest, and we did a TAC. We went to Colorado. This year we went to the ATA, in Louisville, Kentucky, and made our first showing over there. So it's starting to catch traction, that's for sure. We're
awesome.
getting there. Yeah.
That's so cool. And I love that you have an eye for it, because, you're like, hey, there's something there. You need to go out and do something with it. Not a lot of people would do that. They're just like, oh, that's cool. Can you make me one? Right. And instead your idea was, well, let's use this and share it with other people. And I think that's awesome. And it's cool that, that your friend, you said Doug, has had such a creative mind to be able to do that. I laugh because a lot of my friends put their bows on their backs when we're out, backpacking around or bow hiking, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And I just laugh because I'm like, I just like doing curls in the mountains. So I just carry my bow, just,
yeah.
but I think it's a cool idea. I'm excited to try it out and see how it works. Cause I've been intrigued. I've seen it around, and I'll leave the link down below for your website, and people can go check it out. And it just screws into your sight, right? That's on the side of the.
Right. So it doesn't affect your sights at all. The bow hitch itself, it's a little thin piece of metal. It's 14 gauge steel that's laser cut. It weighs 3 ounces. We have 3 different sizes. So the small is 3, the other one's 3.5, and the large is right over 4 ounces. So it screws in. So the majority of quivers attach to your sight via 2 screws. We designed this to use those exact same 2 screw holes. So you just take off your quiver, you put the bow hitch in, you put the 2 screws in, and it's installed. Simple as that. Doesn't affect your sights, doesn't change your sights, nothing like that. And then there's a little strap that we provide that comes with the bow hitch that goes into your load lifter strap on your support side, like the hand that you carry your bow with. It buckles into the load lifter strap, and then you adjust that accordingly to your arm's length, and you slide the bow hitch in and out. And it's really as simple as that. It's there's nothing to it. When people it's hard to explain. And I've been trying to learn this spiel for 2 years, 3 years, and I still don't have it down very well. But once you see it, it's like that aha moment, like, wow, that really works. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it helps with, especially people that, I didn't feel a ton of fatigue this last year, but the people that I hunted with, they all commented on it. How, man, we're carrying our bows all day. We had an arrow knocked, like our shoulders are sore, and just things that you don't think about, that you keep your shoulder hunched up because you don't want, your stabilizer to drag or your strings to get caught in things. And so the bow hitch just kind of keeps it right there by your arm. You put it down, use 2 hands to glass. It's a pretty cool idea. I like it.
Yeah. The good thing is when it's on your bow hitch, you don't ever bend over anymore. Like you want a glass, you want to check your GPS, gate, take a leak, whatever. Like you're no longer putting this finely tuned piece of equipment in the dirt for any reason at all. So that's an awesome thing to it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And also, I wanted to ask you, because a lot of these, for example, and Hoyt, I say a lot of them, but Hoyt and Matthews specifically are coming out with these sights that attach either on the front with a Picatinny, or the Matthews one that goes through the actual riser. Do you guys have thought, because it seems like things are trending that way? Are you guys working on things to get it attached to bows that don't have the sight on the side?
Right. Well, the good thing about those bows, like I'm not 1,000% sure on the Hoyt, but I put one on the Matthews the other day, and the Matthews is still tapped on the outside for a traditional sight, and that's our same holes. So
okay, cool.
It still works just fine.
It might extend it a little bit, right? Because, like, for example, the way I measured mine, the screw holes are a little bit further back than the riser, so it was shorter. But probably. Now you would be using like the center riser holes to put it in, so that might change things a little bit. But that's cool, yeah. And I know the Hoyt has it as well, because they're not just exclusively going to the Picatinny, because some people still want to use their older sights or whatever. So I know they've got the holes there too. So that's cool.
Yeah. So it's we'll see. I mean, we're just gonna have to adapt as other things come and figure it out. I'm working on an adaptation now for traditional bows, long bows and recurves, and I think I have that figured out. So we have quite a few people, even though they don't weigh anything, you still don't want to bend over and put it in the ground. So we're looking at accommodating those guys as well.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, I love the ingenuity. And this just goes back to showing why I know I shot against you in the cold shot challenge and that kind of sparked a conversation, but I've been watching your stuff for a while. And I love that you're, again, just going back to the three main pillars here at RedBeard Outdoors that I talk about are, faith and family, fitness, and the outdoors. And the fact that you have the family aspect, you have a full-time job, you're a good father, a good dad, and a good husband. You have all of that, in your life as well. And you're still able to find that time to pursue a passion of yours and to find those little things that stand out to you, like your friend's little hitch that he had on his shoulder strap. Again, a lot of people wouldn't want to take that on because they'd say, well, I've already got enough. But again, those are the same people that come home, they clock out, and they go watch Netflix, right? Instead, you're not looking at retirement as, obviously you're going to want to travel, I imagine, and spend more time with the family, but you also want to continue to pursue something that's going to progress. You're not just looking to sit back on the couch and say, oh, I had a good life. This is awesome. Now I get to, just chill. Like you're looking to keep moving forward. I love that.
Yeah. Thank you. It's next chapter. And I mean, I'm already lining up a couple of different jobs, like Bow Hitch will be there. It's just going to be easier for me because doing stuff like this, going to the stores, contacting people, like, well, I'm at work, I can't do that. And with the time changes and different time zones, working 4 days a week isn't conducive to trying to run a business, so it makes it difficult. But just I mean, I'll have other jobs, and but just need to focus. And the wife and I have had that conversation, like, if this becomes a distraction and like you can tell like that things are changing for the wrong reasons and in a negative way, then so be it. It's done. Like, it is what it is. We gave it a shot, and but it's not worth, nobody's job is worth, losing your family over, so even sometimes now I catch my kids, like the social media thing. I hated when my wife would be on social media, like hated it because I didn't understand it. And I still don't understand it if you don't have a business, but but like having a business, like this is the driver of our business. I don't know how to use Facebook, but I've gotten pretty proficient at Instagram. And this is how, the giveaway started. This is how everything for us has progressed. And we don't have too many followers, but we have enough to where I stay busy on it, and people ask questions and they reach out, and I like to be involved in them and comment, and your father-daughter dance and your dinner, like those things are important because I put myself in those shoes. And like you said, you want to be with like-minded people and individuals. And when somebody reaches out and says, hey, I'd like to do this or that, or can you support this, like you have to do your research, because you got to be, the little contract that my son just walked up with, you got to be careful with what you put your name to. So it takes
especially
a
those
lot.
kids, man.
Yeah.
Especially, you don't know, on the back side of that page, it said something around like no more chores for the rest of the week or something, and you didn't read it. Watch, he's gonna turn around and he's gonna pull that out tomorrow.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you gotta watch him. So we would tease the wife about being on the phone, and so now I just try to catch myself, but it's just so easy to do, and I'm just constantly like, hey, check yourself, like put it down, put it away, and like part of the 75 hard deal, what I'd like to do is just wake up an hour earlier and all social media gets done. That's a goal that I already told the wife that I want to do. Is I'm going to wake up an hour earlier before everybody else, and all social media is done within that hour. Then I could do it again at night and catch whatever messages or whatever it is. But I need to put that on a schedule and not just hey, it's convenient for you, let me drop what I'm doing. And so I'd like to make that a priority for myself.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. It's easy to get wrapped up into the social media, and I agree with you. It's when you have a quote unquote higher purpose for doing it,
Right.
you can still make that excuse. It can still take time away from the family and other things that you care about. And so I as well try to, find that time. And I'm working on setting a schedule so that, I'm doing something in the morning and then maybe checking it at lunchtime or whatever. But yeah, just trying to not allow that to interrupt family time. That's a huge, huge thing. So, I also wanted to bring up something else that you guys have been doing recently. Now, this is going to come out on Sunday. So, I want to say your giveaway will be done by Sunday, correct?
Yeah, we're gonna finish on Thursday.
Okay. But I imagine this isn't the only time that you're looking to do something like this.
No, this is our second one actually. Our first one we only had like, I don't know, 300 followers or something, but I
Okay.
knew it was something that I wanted to incorporate. Like even when we wrote our business plan, it was, how are we going to give?
Mhm.
Like, is there a budget? Like I want to budget in, a percentage to say at a minimum we're going to do this. And so that was our first thing because we didn't have the money, right? Like, well, our first order was 50 bow hitches. So I said, I have 50, let's give one away. And that's how we got our first random acts of kindness giveaway. And basically the way that works is you just do something kind for somebody else, an unsolicited act of kindness that you do because it's the right thing to do. And then you post about it in our comments, and that's it. Now that's your fee for entering into the membership. That's real. Like Andy Frischella, the way he says that's how you pay. You tell somebody about it, and ours is you do something kind. You don't need to be a bow hunter or buy a bow hitch. You can whatever, like, just be a good person, man.
Yep. No, I agree with that 100%. It's been cool to watch everyone chipping in this time around. I don't believe I followed you back then during your first giveaway, but seeing how this one has progressed, and I've put it up a couple of times as well because I love encouraging those random acts of kindness. And going through, it was phase 3 of Live Hard. You have to do a random act of kindness every single day for someone different. And I even challenged myself to where I wasn't allowed to do it for someone inside my home. I had to do it
Wow.
for someone outside the house. And so, just coming up on these awesome opportunities and meeting new people, bringing tears to people's eyes, like not on purpose, obviously, but, just paying for someone's groceries, and then not feeling pity for them, but just because you want to do it for them. And then, I heard some cool stories that, people were just saying like, wow, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, and this was going to be a big burden on me during the holidays. And thank you so much for buying us a turkey or whatever. And for me, I just felt good. I just felt good doing it, whether or not they acknowledged it or not. It just feels good to do that random act of kindness. And so I love that you're incorporating giving things back and encouraging people to do it, because a lot of people are more willing to share that and to do that when, there's a little benefit give afterwards.
Sure.
But I'm loving reading the comments more than anything, because it seems like most of the people that are participating in this didn't do it because of the giveaway. They're doing it because they're genuinely good people. And so, I encourage anyone out there listening to, next time there is a giveaway, first of all, go follow Bow Hitch on Instagram at the Bow Hitch, and you can see the next time he does a giveaway, all the comments. And just go check out this last video, because again, this is coming out on Sunday. Go watch the video, go see all the comments and the stories, and get some ideas on some random acts of kindness that you can perform as well. It doesn't have to be anything crazy complicated. I think one of the ones that you told, I think it was Sunday, so yesterday, was a lady went and bought a heated blanket for someone that was cold due to COVID. Like she had 700 something blankets, obviously a little bit over exaggeration, but
726 blankets
yeah,
was so cold.
but she went and bought her a same day delivery heated blanket, like just little things like that. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just go out and serve somebody, put a smile on someone else's face, and just let people know that we live in America, and that's one of the best things about this country, is that we're a melting pot of so many cultures and diversity, and service is kind of one of the staples of that. It's one of the cornerstones of this country, is serving your fellow American, and so I love that you're encouraging that, and I really appreciate that personally.
Thank you. Yeah, it's cool, man, to be able to do it. Like, my brother gave me the spotting scope. The spotting scope was our big prize, and he just showed up with it one day, and he said, "Hey, bro, this is for you. I want you to use it to help grow the business. You can sell it and use it the money for whatever you want, or you can give it away, or you do whatever you want. I don't care, but it's yours. Like, good luck." And I said, "Dude, I'm going to give it away." Like I said, let me think about it for a while, and then I called him and I said, "I'm going to give it away. It's going to be a random acts of kindness that I want to do." So he was, "Whatever, it's yours, man. Good luck." And so that stemmed it and kind of got started. And I figured after the 2020, 2021 were a bummer for everybody. And, everybody got into a funk of just, you know, easy to be negative about anything, right? No matter what your perspective on anything is it doesn't matter. You're still upset about something. Which for me, fortunately, like doing what I do and talking to people from all walks of life and guilty, innocent, this, that, like it really doesn't matter. Like the big picture, like whatever you're complaining about, like there's still right and wrong, and that's all there is to it. So it's just so easy to be nice to somebody without like everything is so divided, I guess is what I was getting at, that it doesn't matter like what you believe in. I could still hold the door open for you or help you change your tire or block your car with mine, that way nobody runs over the both of us while we change your tire, something like that. And like to me, that was really the intent. Like after 2 years of just being pissed off for no reason and crying about whatever you want to cry about, and a lot of it's validated, there's reasons to be upset, but there's not always somebody to blame, and you could, well, let's just move forward. Yesterday doesn't matter. Like, let's move forward and be better. Like we can all do that. So that's the premise of let's give the whole month of January to reset ourselves. COVID's going away. People are getting back out there, and I think the world's kind of getting back into a regular swing of things. And let's just use this 30 days. It's like an easy 75 hard. Let's use these times as a practice ground and get yourself into a routine, and it's easy to do, and you might win something pretty cool after. So that was the idea and the premise behind it is let's make 2022 a better year than we've had the last 2 years. And it's very easy to do. It's your mindset, it's what you do, and if you start now, it'll be that much easier. So it's a long rant. I don't know if there was a question, if I
No,
answered it, but I tend to do this.
No, you're good. I agree with you 100% that there's a lot of people that have suffered over the last 2 years. I almost feel selfish saying this, but at the same time, like these last 2 years for me have changed me for the better. Like I look back at the Jonathan from 2 years ago, pre-COVID, and I just think like, I wouldn't want to be in that spot anymore. I wasn't happy, fully fulfilled. Like I love being a dad, but I was at a job that I wasn't necessarily happy with. I wasn't the best husband. I was definitely not in the physical shape that I wanted to be in. And it just kind of all came crashing down. And I started 2020 off with that different mindset of, this is going to be my year. I had said that before. I know everyone says that, but then COVID hit, and instead of I almost took it as like a challenge from Mother Nature. Like, you just, and so I feel almost bad sometimes telling people that these have been some of the best 2 years of my life, when I know people have suffered. But I agree with you that the majority of people out there are scared or feel like they have to be locked down. They've been isolated. They've lost loved ones. Some people really have. They've lost people that were dear to them, and so there's a lot of people that have suffered over these last 2 years. And I love what you're doing and your mindset of 2022 is going to be about service, about giving back, and this whole giveaway is cool to see as things expanded, because you started with the spotting scope, and there was one other thing, right? A bow hitch or something like that.
I was going to give away a bow hitch and a spotting scope.
Yeah, and now you're going to have a week of giveaways.
Dude, I have 28 total gifts.
There you go. So 4 gifts a day for a
Yeah.
week, right?
Yep.
That's crazy. And who knows where it's going to go next time, right? And so it's just awesome to see everyone chipping in. If I had anything more than just stickers, I totally would have sent in something too, but I don't think people want stickers for this. But yeah, I was thinking about reaching out to you about that, but I was like, next time I'll have something better that I can offer. But I just love the idea of giving back. I love that you're not in it for, to make money. You're not in it to grow, get famous. You're in it to grow. Obviously, you want the company to grow. You want this idea of service to grow, but you're not in it to be famous and rich. You're in it to better the bow experience for people by creating something that they don't have to carry their bow around. Even though I still strongly encourage doing curls in the mountains, but maybe do it with packs of meat instead of your bow. And then giving back. Like, that's just such a big thing that people forget. It's so easy. You brought up social media, to get wrapped up in negativity nowadays. You turn on the news, you listen to the radio. Like, anytime the radio comes on when I hop in my wife's car, because I don't even have the radio on in my car, I just listen to music or podcasts. But when I hop in and I start listening to it, I guarantee 100% of the time, every single time it comes on, I hear the word COVID. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, people want to hear something about getting better. And there's the joke that, well, if the last 2 years COVID spent that time making a better version of itself, why didn't you? Like,
ouch. Yeah.
Right. And so I just laugh about that. Like, that's funny, but at the same time, like, you think about it, like, the time's going to pass anyway. Go out and serve somebody, go out and do something to make your community better. And I love that you're doing that. And I can't highlight that enough. I love that your company is doing that and that you wanted to write that into the beginning of your company. You're going to succeed just based on that idea alone. You're not in it to get rich and famous. You're in it to serve other people. I love that.
Yeah, that's the goal is, organic, we are who we are. Like, the product, when I try to explain it to people, I'm like, dude, I'm a fireman. My buddy's a fireman. Like, the shit just works. Like, we don't have time to think about pretty and this and that and whatever. Like, our job is to go in and get it done when we need to get it done.
Wait, mine doesn't come with sequins? Okay.
you could order a spin. We'll maybe down the road. So it's just like, it just works. Like, it's simple. It doesn't have any moving parts. Like, it fixes a problem, so it is what it is. I don't want to oversell it. If it's not for you, then it's not for you. That's okay. Like, I totally understand that. The good thing about ours is it works with every other bow carrying system that's out there, which we've been to the other 3D shoots and we've seen all the other people and what they use to transport their bow. And that's great. Like, they've been very welcoming to me, and which is the most beautiful part. Like, they could have really, hey, that's a competitor's, a new kid on the block, let's smash him right away before he gets big. But they came in with arms wide open and said, hey man, if I can help you, let me do that. And, if I have questions, I'd be happy to do it. And the market's big enough for everybody, like, we were at the TAC when this conversation happened, and the guy says, we're the 4 biggest bow carrying systems here in the country right now. Like, we're the 4 biggest dudes. And like, I was humbled to even be brought into that, right? Like, I'm nobody, but the name's getting out. And he said, and look at how many people walk out of here carrying their bow. Like, the market is huge. Like, there's plenty for everybody. There's no need to be, to have a negative, attitude towards each other. And I was like, dude, I love it. You're absolutely right. So, if we don't work for you, try the other guys. Like, ours is pretty specific to hunting, ours is the only one you can wear while you're actively hunting. The other ones I call are transporting your bows. If you're going to transport your bow, you can transport it with whatever you want to. When it's time to hunt, you're going to hunt with the bow hitch because you can actively hunt while using the bow hitch. So, but we're all on the same team. There's so many divided everything. Like, I don't care. If you're happy, I'm happy. Like, I'm not gonna I'm not that guy. I'm not a victim, right? I'm not going to be sad for myself if whatever happens, like the whole COVID deal, which was for me, it's like, I'm not a victim, man. Like, you make your own luck. You wanted to work harder for 2020. you've got a mindset, you say, cool, let's grind it. I hate that attitude of when people are complaining and for me and all this stuff. Like, you know, I don't know. But don't be a victim. Whoever's listening, you know, you can change the outcome of whatever's coming your way. Work harder. That's all you got to do. If you don't like the situation you're in, get out of it. You know, sometimes it takes a lot of, you know, testicular fortitude to make that change. But if that's what's necessary and you're thinking about it, it's probably time to do it. So grind it, man. Work hard and have some faith and believe in yourself. Also, you know, ask for help, say your prayers, and do what you got to do to better yourself. And you know, for whatever reason the Bow Hitch works, then that's awesome. It's not gonna fail for a lack of effort. And hopefully we can do some good along the way, which is the ultimate goal. Like if I can pay it forward with whatever the Bow Hitch is able to do, then that's the end game. That's a win right there.
Yeah, I love that. And you know, the easiest way to get out of the funk, the easiest way to get out of the victim mentality is to go serve someone else. You know, look outside of yourself. And again, going back to you and a bunch of other people that I've seen that are encouraging the serving of others. You know, that just goes back to basic Christian values in general. And even if you're not Christian and you've served someone else, you know, that feeling of you no longer are concerned about the clock. You're not concerned about your text messages. You're not concerned about Instagram. You're not concerned about your pity and self victimhood. You know, you're worried about someone else. And at that moment, when it consumes you to be in the service of others, you just become a better person.
Yep.
Your community becomes better, but you yourself, like that's the easiest way to get out of victimhood as far as self-inflicted, you know, victimhood. And the self-pity party and everything else that a lot of people have been going through. Just go out and serve somebody. It can be as simple as going and shoveling their walks, bringing in their trash cans for them. Like you don't have to go spend money. You don't have to go spend a ton of time. Just picking up garbage when you're out on your 30 to 45 minute walk that I tell everyone that they need to go on every day. You know, just pick up garbage. It's just something as simple as that. But anyway, you know, I just wanted to highlight that because I really appreciate the product that you make, but also how you encourage others to get out and serve. So just to kind of wrap up here, where can everyone find you at?
Okay, we are online. We're at thebowhitch.com, thebowhitch.com. And on Instagram and Facebook, it's at thebowhitch. Awesome. And so those are the two. We do have some YouTube videos up, kind of just some little tutorials. And I have some hunts that I did that are coming up. Pretty epic access deer hunt that I hope to post tomorrow. So you guys keep an eye out for that one.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. And yeah, if we had more time, I would totally delve into all those awesome hunts because I do want to talk to you about the access hunt and everything. I tried to convince my wife. She was like, hey, you're turning 30 this year. What do you want to do? And she's been wanting to go to Hawaii for a while now. And like, for me, I'm not a beach person. I just burn to a crisp. Like I'm pasty white. I'm a ginger, just kind of how it works. But, you know, I finally told her, I was like, hey, we should go to Hawaii. And she's like, she looked at me at first. She was like, oh yeah. And then she looked and she was like, what do you want to hunt in Hawaii? And I was like, dang it. She caught me. Right? I was like, but it's my birthday, right? No,
yeah.
But I'm still working on that. And so hopefully one day that'll happen, but I'd love to go do access to you. You what?
I have the perfect layout for you when you're ready. We did the same thing. So everybody will be happy. I got it.
Awesome. Well, see, so my hunting buddy, and this is how I phrased it. I was like, how about we go with them? Me and my buddy will go out and we'll hunt during the day, and you and his wife can go to the beach and enjoy the beach. And then you can go shopping or do whatever it is that you want to do in the city, and we'll come back with meat. How about that? She still didn't like that.
That's we'll talk. We'll do another one and I'll explain it to you, and we'll do it when you have videos so I can send you the pictures.
Oh, awesome.
It's just epic. It was cool, man. It's something you should consider, like really consider and plan on it, because it's very doable. It's not as expensive as you would think it would be. And
Oh yeah, it's in
it's
the works. It's
it's
totally in the
awesome.
works.
It's
But
awesome.
awesome,
Well,
dude.
thank you,
Well,
brother.
thank.
I
Yeah,
appreciate you very much for having me on. Thank you to your audience, and thanks for welcoming me in. And you should have your, you know, hopefully you'll get a chance to play with the Bow Hitch here pretty soon, and you tell me if you like it or you don't, or what you think about it. And we'll go from there.
awesome. Yeah, and thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming on. Everyone, go check him out at the Bow Hitch on Instagram and thebowhitch.com. I'll leave the links down below so you can go check them out. And as I always say, get out, live your life, and love it. All right. Thanks so much for tuning into that. Hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I enjoyed having that conversation. Armando is an awesome dude. Again, go check him out at the Bow Hitch on Instagram. He does amazing things. If you're looking at not having to carry your bow or strap it onto your pack, but having it readily available to you, go check out his product. He's got an awesome product, and at least give it a shot. Unless you just enjoy doing curls with your bow in the mountain while you're hiking. If you're that into fitness, awesome. But either way, go check out his product. Hope you guys, again, have an amazing day. And as always, like I always say, and with purpose, with meaning behind it, I want you guys to understand and to actually fulfill this. Get out, live your life, and love it.